Hi, pleasure being here. In the next couple of minutes, I'll try to share with you my experience, a unique experience of both law enforcement agency, fintech company, privacy expert, and technology expert about the domains of AI, how criminals can use that, and what we could do about it. So, just a minute. Okay. So what I want to discuss today with you is first we'll first look into how do criminals are using AI or can use AI to create crimes, how law enforcement community could actually benefit from AI, and what are the challenges that they are facing, and I will share with you my personal experience of that. We look into the private sector and financial industry to understand how financial crime can be combated. And then at the end, we'll speak a little bit about policy consideration and potential plan as part of a Harvard article that I was part of discussing those topics. So let's start with a story. OpenAI announced recently that they developed a voice engine that could basically use your voice for 50 seconds and then to create synthetic content based on that. Minutes before they launched that, they canceled the project. Why is that so? Well, probably compliance was not involved in that because of the very main reason that voice recognition is also many times the password for people, bank accounts, health services, and so forth. And there is a huge risk associated with that if voice engine, AI-based voice engine will be used. So that's a good example of how innovation and security of financial system and other systems are or can clash. Let's see what bad actors can do with AI. So as Karen mentioned earlier, there's a lot of concerns around synthetic content, deepfake. It could be video, audio, visual. All of them has a lot of impact on the ability of monitoring those environments. Let's see.
I am not Morgan Freeman. What you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being?
This is not Morgan Freeman.
Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to...
I'll stop here, but basically what he was saying, I'm not Morgan Freeman. And what we see here is the deepfake and the ease of using that in order to copycat someone else's identity. It pollutes the digital environment, and bad actors can use that. How can they use that? Let's think, for example, about terrorism. Terrorism, you want to create fear and influence public opinion. With this content, it's easy to create a fear or just manipulate public opinion easily by creating a content, let's say, that a leader of one of the nations is going to provide a statement saying that they are opening a war or just doing something else that may cause harm to world order. We see, many leaders that are part of deepfake. Donald Trump, this is fake. We've seen Obama and other leaders, and that's a very easy thing to do. And just think about it. Instead of actually initiating a terror attack, you could just create easily deepfake, and by that cause the same results in terms of world order. You could also use public opinion and election. This year is a critical year. Almost 50% of world population is going to vote. With AI, we see many attempts to manipulate public opinion and to influence elections. We see President Biden, for example, was used in election in South Africa. We see that on a daily basis in India, a high-tech nation that uses a lot of AI. They held the election earlier this month, and what we've seen there was like dozens of AI, fake AI video clips, including leaders that passed away, that came back from the dead to bring a message of support to one of the candidates, and also they conducted that in 50 different languages. This is the complexity, for example, in India and many additional countries. We've also seen OpenAI published that they identified attempts to do manipulation on elections with their engines, and they were able to identify that. Some of it was led by Russia, by China, and others. But what also criminals can do about or with AI? For example, they can, as we mentioned, create the synthetic content. They could conduct social engineering scam, as Karen just mentioned, the president schemes, things that I worked a lot in the past to just, counter, and now it became so easy to just fake the identity of those counterparts. Fraud, imprisonment, getting into people's bank account, health record, privacy data, and so forth. And also, of course, cyber attack by finding the vulnerabilities and using them, as was just mentioned. And in addition, from my point of view, it's also a way to ask generative AI, what are the vulnerabilities in financial systems? And I'm always looking on financial crime, and you could just find the loopholes on how to launder money or fund terrorism. But what law enforcement authorities can do with that? So we've seen the great opportunities the criminals have. What do law authorities do? So from law authority perspective, this is actually a haven. You could analyze large amount of data and conduct mass surveillance, which is like the dream of most law enforcement agencies. They want to be able to analyze lots of anomaly and big data in one place, something that usually, especially for governments, which it takes them some time to adopt technology and purchase technology, all of a sudden, many additional tools become available, and the ability is amazing also. They have lots of data, and they have also examples to teach the machine, which is a great advantage. But there is a major challenge, and here, from my experience, how do we avoid bias? You're probably all familiar with Gemini's image creator that created an image of the Pope. That's the Pope, based on Gemini, or Vikings, or samurai warriors. We all see the bias here that was integrated into the code. So that's obviously a learning process of those engines. But what happens when a law enforcement agency is trying to use the same AI technology to identify crime and patterns? And here I'll share with you my own story, my own perspective at the Israeli Financial Crime Agency, IMPA. We put ourselves with an amazing project a couple of years ago. My agency was among the leading agencies in the world in terms of using technology. And we wanted to try and find out the professional money launderers in Israel, based upon huge data that we had. So we developed the algorithm, we put some AI algorithmics in it, and we taught the machine to find the bad guys, the red people. We pressed the button, well, it took us like a year or so, and then we got the result, and we were super happy because we got that. That's the population, those are the professional money launderers. Sweet. Have we achieved what we wanted to? The answer is no, because we were able to find, and by the way, that's a major achievement, but we were not happy with that. We were able to find the exact same type of criminals. They all share the same demography, background, age, and other similarity in their background. But what we wanted as a law enforcement agency, we wanted a diversity in our criminals. We wanted to be able to become familiar with different type of criminals, different type of crime, to use the anomaly and the algorithms to teach us what we don't know and what we cannot know. So it took us some time, about another year or so. We used some supervised algorithms, and then we were able, at the end of the day, to find where to do the tweak and shtick and reach to a different solution. But still, this is not good enough because you always have the bias. And this is something that, as a law enforcement agency, you have to take into account. So let's speak briefly about the private sector, where I am now working at Rapyd, which is a fintech company, and I'm find myself puzzled a lot on how to find the bad guys that are trying to exploit our system. And in order to do that, this is again a heaven for teams that know how to use AI. That's really a heaven, because there are so many new opportunities and shortcuts to do that. Automated fraud detection. With the algorithms, you have the ability to do real-time monitoring and find anomalies very easily, things that people just cannot see, and sometimes regular machine cannot do. Also, it allows you to move from a world of rule-based approach to patterns-based approach in a relatively low cost. In terms of compliance, that's again a haven for compliance. When you have a team that is sophisticated enough and know how to use that, that's really an amazing task. You could do a lot of monitoring and analysis with that to streamline KYC, AML processes, to automate regulatory compliance check and so forth, and to conduct risk assessment on a very accurate manner. The machine makes mistake. Many times, you always need to be there at this point. However, it sometimes takes projects that would take for an analyst weeks to conduct and short that into a couple of days or hours or even minutes, assuming that you know how to amend it or fix it or make the needed adjustments. So I was trying I asked Dali to put a photo of a happy compliance officer using AI. Well, it didn't get it quite well, but we need to still work on that. Just to summarize and speak a little bit about the global coordinated policy, where are we heading and what the world should be doing. So in order to make sure that AI, generative AI, is being used in the most safe environment and does not harm public, the public at large and used by criminals, first, there must be some regulatory clarity. Now, again, there is a race between innovation and regulation. It has to be a global effort. Countries need to come together and find the framework on how to create that. We could use models that exist in certain parts of the world and other industries, for example, FATF, with respect to financial crime, and how to create the incentive for the private sector to make sure that they're creating a safe environment that allows the needed checks and balance in order to do that, and to make that in an efficient manner. In a paper that we've published at Harvard on a roadmap for governing AI, we are suggesting a couple of solutions. Some of them, just perhaps to give a quick example, many of the challenges can be solved with the AI itself. Machine can also be the tool for machine, AI to detect AI, for example, tools that detect fake content and are able to flag that, watermarking that, and other incentives that create safer environment that we are suggesting. There are some disagreement on that. Some experts said that this is impossible, but hey, the future is yet to come and there are many challenges ahead. Hopefully, we'll be able to solve them together and create a secure and healthy environment and culture. Thank you so much.